Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva. Tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva. Tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. All of you know this poem, but let me explain the meaning. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva. You are like my mother and father. When you say somebody is like my mother and father, that means it is somebody other than my mother and father. I'm going to ask you a question, so just remember. Tvameva bandhu. Bandhu means a close relative, a relative whom you bind yourself. Bandhanat. Tvameva bandhu. You are like my close relative. Sakha tvameva. Sakha means friend. Tvameva vidya. You are my knowledge. Tvameva dravinam, my wealth. And finally this prayer concludes, Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. You are my everything. And my question to you, you can answer, whom does this prayer refer to? Louder? Yes? Yeah, it refers to the Guru or the Acharya. Nobody else can fit this brief who's like my mother and father, my knowledge, my relative, my friend, and my wealth, my everything. You know what is the greatest ever treasure from ancient India? It is our scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads. Unfortunately, for many years and many centuries, the greatest treasure of India was available only for very few people. The revolution happened thanks to Pujya Swami Chinmayanandaji. If there is one person who has made a revolution in bringing the scriptures available to all of us, it is because of Swami Chinmayanandaji. When Swami Chinmayananda went to his Guru Tapovan Maharaj in Uttarakashi, and for the first time he was exposed to the real riches of India, he became a missionary. That is why it is called Chinmaya Mission. He became so full of energy, he wanted this knowledge to come to everybody. Now, this knowledge is in Sanskrit, and according to our tradition, this can be given only to eligible people. It cannot be given on a loudspeaker to everybody. A lot of people warned him, please do not do so. But his passion was so much that he wanted to give this. And he created a revolution. According to our Vedas, all of us have got 4 Purusharthas. Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Of which moksha is called Parama Purushartha, the highest goal any human being can attain. One thing is very true, Moksha Purushartha is possible only through spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge is only possible through Guru Shastra Upadesha. And Swami Chinmayananda, and through his mission and through the hierarchies of Guru Shishya Parampara, to people like us who have never been to any Gurukula, who have never left our homes, who have continued to be a Grihastha doing what everybody has done, he has opened his eyes to the greatest treasures that India has, and to this great Parampara and to the great Guru Swami Chinmayanandaji, my pranams. This is a special occasion on the occasion of 108th anniversary of Swami Chinmayanandaji. To our correspondent Ranjita Palanivel, our principal Neeraja Srinivasan, to all the staff of this school, to the parents, what I would like to say is something about parenting. For the few minutes I have, I know you have come to see your children perform and you have come to see your children get prizes, but they have called me and you have to bear with me to listen to something about the very difficult art of parenting. None of us have been trained in the art of parenting, and parenting is certainly one of the most difficult arts. There was one family, one couple who had done a lot of research on parenting, and they said they had 5 theories of parenting. And after some time, they had 5 children, and they said, now we have no theories. Each child, children are so intelligent, our children are also listening. Therefore, I have to be very careful. Children are very intelligent, so intelligent that however intelligent you may be, that parenting is not an easy job whatsoever. I will tell you a few stories. Listen to these stories. On the surface, they look like very, very silly, stupid stories. But if you reflect on them, at some stage they will give you meaning. The first story is about a parent waking up his son to go to school. You know how children get up on holidays and how difficult it is to wake them up on school days. So the father was waking up his son to go to school, but the son was refusing to get up. And when the son finally opened his eyes, he said, Papa, I don't want to go to school. So the father said, why you don't want to go to school? He said, the teachers don't like me, the children don't like me. But the father said, but you have to go to school. You are 40 years old and you are the principal of the school. One story. I'll come to the significance of the story. Second story is about a father and son. Sometimes children come and tell you, Papa, tell me a story. The father could not think of any story. So he made up one story. Remember, this is a made up story. Made up story don't give too much importance, but as far as parenting is concerned, it has got some meaning. So the father made up one story about a worm, and suddenly the boy became interested. He says, what happened? There was one worm. On Sunday morning, it got up early and it went looking for food. But the worm did not know about the early bird, so the early bird came and ate up that worm. There was another worm, lazy fellow, at 11 o'clock also he was sleeping, and a boy came to play and he saw a worm there. He took a big stone and crushed this. So the boy said, Papa, but what is the moral of the story? He said, either way you lose. This is the problem about parenting. Whatever you do, don't expect to succeed as parents. You may succeed in your profession, you may succeed in any life, but as parents, whatever you do, we tend to do 2 mistakes. What are the 2 mistakes? These are called errors of omission and errors of commission. What do you mean by errors of omission? Errors of omission means I have been so involved in my work, in my profession, in my travel, I did not have time to spend with my children. I always have a sense of guilt that I was not there when my children wanted me, and this is called errors of omission. There is a bigger problem called the errors of commission. The errors of commission is, I want my children to do well. I want them to not make the mistakes that I made. And I force them to do certain things, and because of that, my children are not able to forgive me. So parents can make 2 mistakes. So finally, what is the end message? Either way, we lose. So have you heard of this phrase, what cannot be cured? Can you complete that sentence? What cannot be cured must be? Somebody complete the statement. What cannot be cured must be? Did I hear an answer? What cannot be cured, normally they say must be endured. Alright? But I'm going to give you a new phase as far as parenting is concerned. What cannot be cured must be enjoyed. Now, how to enjoy the difficult art of parenting? There are 2 techniques I will give you. The first technique is given to us by the Bhagavad Gita. What does Bhagavad Gita says? The first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita focus on one spiritual sadhana called Karma Yoga. As parents, we have the responsibility, as teachers, as principals, our job is to bring up children, isn't it? And what does Karma Yoga say? Two things. How does karma become a yoga? Normally, any action we do is karma. But when does karma become a spiritual sadhana according to the Bhagavad Gita? Karma becomes a spiritual sadhana when it is done in two conditions. It is done as an offering to God, as Ishvara Arpana. When I take care of my child, it's like taking care of Bala Gopala. Imagine Bhagwan Shri Krishna has come in the form of your child, and whatever naughtiness or the difficulty your child is giving you, it is Shri Krishna Bhagwan in my own home, and therefore if I see that whatever offering that I do for my children as if I am doing it for God, that is called Ishvara Arpana. Then there is something called Prasada Buddhi. What is the outcome? I will come to it later. Whatever the outcome is, can I take it as a prasada? When you go to a temple, they will give you a prasada. But will you compare that he got more or somebody else got more, or that Tirupati Laddu was better than this? We don't do. Why? Because it is prasada. We accept it. Karma Yoga is two things. Ishvara Arpana Bhava and Ishvara Prasada Bhava. Second thing about Karma Yoga is, remember one phrase, it is my need. What does it mean? Alright. Some time ago, I had many occasions to travel by train, and invariably when I finally got my ticket, it was always an RAC ticket. And those of you who have traveled by RAC, you know what does RAC mean. When you enter the compartment, there will be 6 people who have got those long berths, and you are sitting on the sides. There will be 3 people for 2 berths, and you will be waiting for the TT to come. And when the TT comes, there will be 2 attitudes. One is those with confirmed berth, they will be busy on the phone. When the TT comes, they will just show their ticket. They won't even look at the face of the TT. But those of us on the side berth waiting for your confirmed berth, the moment the TT comes, you will stand up and say, "Sir, sir," hoping that you will get a confirmed berth because you don't want to travel all night sitting up. Why am I so nice to the TT when you have an RAC ticket? Because it is my need, isn't it? Remember one thing, whenever it is your need, you are naturally nice. And therefore, why have we brought up children? Because it is my need to be a parent. Why are we teachers in school? Why are we principals or correspondent? Because it is my need. Never at any moment feel that as a teacher or as a doctor, I am doing a favor for a patient. If there is no patient, there is no doctor. The patient creates the doctor, and therefore whenever a patient comes, if I am able to see, now the patient has created the doctor, I have an existence because of my patient. That is what is called my need. That is why, as I said, any difficult job you will be able to enjoy if you make it a karma yoga. Our Shastras say one more thing. We are not what we think we are. We think I am a man, woman, because we identify with the body. But the truth is, we are someone other than the body. That means, I am someone else. Then what am I? This body mind, that I am a man, I am a doctor, is only a role. And the more you understand, as a parent, we are only role playing. As a teacher, we are role playing. As a principal, we are role playing. As a correspondent, it is only a role to play. This is not something I had. Just like an actor puts on a clothes and plays the role, how do you do the role? As per the instructions of the director, you play the role 100%, isn't it? If you don't play the role correctly, the director will ask you to repeat it. But then if you play your role, you enjoy your role, and you are paid for your role. So, as I said, even though parenting, teaching is a difficult job, we can enjoy it if you are able to see it as a role play, a drama. What do our scriptures say about parenting? In one of the Smritis, there is a guideline, because in parenting there is no technique. If there is any technique, your children are going to defeat that technique. I told you, one family had 5 theories and children broke all those theories. Comes from scriptures which goes like this: Pujaye Panchavarshaye. Until the age of 5, bring the child as if it is God in your home. Treat with lot of love as if Bhagwan has come to your house. Dhandaye Dashavarshe. From the age of 6 to the age of 16, bring the child in the vicinity of the stick. Don't use it, but use it as a discipline, because that is the only window period from the age of 6 to the age of 16 that you can inculcate discipline. And then he says something very beautiful: Prapte Shodasha Samsare Putram Mitram Achale. The moment your child becomes the age of 16, he is no longer your child. He should be treated like your friend. Why? Children grow out of childhood. Parents never grow out of parenting. And that is why we should be able to have that grace that one day my children, Khalil Gibran had said something very beautiful about children. He said, your children are not your children. They are independent beings who have come, and we are only custodians of those children to help them to grow to become whoever. It is none of my business to make my children follow my wishes. I have to only give them the environment for them to become who they essentially are. I will conclude with one story. And this is also one of the problems about parenting. There was a little boy, and this boy loved his dog. And when the dog fell sick, nobody in his family decided to pay attention, so he had to personally take the dog to the veterinarian, spend all the money to get a small amount of medicine. In the doctor's clinic, giving medicine to the sick dog was not a problem, because the veterinarian knows how to administer the medicine. But how to give the medicine to a big dog? So the boy tried. He opened the bottle, held open the dog's mouth, poured that medicine into the mouth of the dog. The moment it tasted that bitter medicine, it struggled so much, it knocked off the bottle, and all the medicine was on the floor. So the boy was so upset, so angry. All the words that his parents used on him, he was using on the dog. But he was surprised to see when he was washing his hands, the dog was licking the medicine from the floor. What is our message? Our children don't refuse our medication. They refuse it the way we push it down the throat. That is why be very sensitive to our children. We want them to come up in life, but at the same time, between discipline and freedom, we should be able to make a correct judgment how much freedom to give and how much discipline that we should give. I will conclude with something which is very true, but it is not good news. Are you ready for it? This is not good news, but I have to share. Your children are small, but this is the truth from our scriptural examples. And the truth is, never expect happiness from children. If they give you happiness, you are blessed. If you expect happiness, you are for disappointment. Why? Children have their own destiny, they have their own future. They have come to me as a parent. All that we need to do is allow them to grow, and remember, it is our need. If ever you feel I have sacrificed so much, and therefore we expect something, that is a prescription for disaster. Can you think of the greatest human being ever, Sri Rama? Sri Rama was the ideal among human beings. But you know why King Dasharatha died? King Dasharatha died because of Sri Rama. He was so upset that because of him, his son had to go to the forest, and missing his son, Dasharatha had to die. And if this is the sadness that Sri Rama gave to his parents, I mean, that was the circumstances of the story. Now, look at your own life. Parent-children relationship, if you look at your own parents, you know, it is a love-hate relationship. We love our parents more than anybody else, but at the same time, sometimes we are not able to forgive our parents. Why? Because we tend to make mistakes. So on this day, on this special occasion of the 108th Janmashtami of Swami Chinmayananda. I've been called to your school. I invoke the blessings of the great teacher who has personally been a source of so much of transformation in my life. And these are the thoughts I have as far as parenting is concerned. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha.